Ugh. Wait. What happened to my rock house? And also, why are we in sand? Well, that is because this is VS2.3, the D.A.D update. Drive, automate, and detonate. So, starting a new classic survival, you now start with this drop pod. That's why we're going to discuss today how to start classic survival. Alright, so let's start a new game, a new classic survival. Go to new game, go right here, classic survival, pure sandbox survival with everything unlocked. That's exactly what we need. Alright, so with the update of VS2.3, the D.A.D update, drive, automate, detonate, we now start in classic survival with this drop pod. So how do we get started with classic survival, you may ask? I'll show you today. Much like my series prior to the update, we did have a drop pod, which is this thing here. But it did come with a survival kit. Now it doesn't. So obviously, we need to go build something to get ourselves some power. So how do we do that? Well, we can first start by grinding down what's inside. So let's just get that started. We're going to take out the seats. They're not functional. So once they're functional, you should be able to sit down and recharge your power. But since they're not functional, we'll just get rid of it. And from there, we have these handrails, so we get rid of them as well, just to make room. And we are doing that with our grinder, which is defaulted on 3. You can always make those changes on your toolbar, but we're not going to do that just yet. We're just going to grind this down first. And we got enough materials from there. So hit tab. This is your inventory, steel plates, electronic parts, motors, and steel tubes. So hitting G gives you the menu to build all the things you need to build. You can go to revival and recharge, or just type in survival, or sur in this case, and you get your survival kit. So you can throw in this offline survival kit right inside the box here. We may need to remove that though, the light. So let's get rid of that. Get some more construction components out of it. Get inside and rotate this thing the correct way using Control and WSAD. And we could probably put this right in the middle like that. Get our welder number 2. Weld it up. Look what we got. We got a survival kit. Now we can recharge our power, which is located in the bottom left, second bar. 100%. And hold F with your fingerprints here to designate a home base. Which I guess when you build it, it kind of defaults to. But yeah. So we have a place called Home and Away, where we can get back to this and charge up while we look for resources later down the line. Look for resources, use your drill, and you'll see these blue markers. You got magnesium, which is pretty good, nickel, silicon, and if you fly around, we'll probably find some more things like iron. It's more important at the moment. Nickel, iron, silicon is the most important thing in the very beginning. You can grab the sand here for silicon. If you see rock, that's nickel. And I guess you see kind of dirt-like, it's more iron. But yeah, to get started, we're going to transfer this thing into a ship. Why? Because it just makes more sense that way. But first, we need to get resources. So I'm going to fly around a little bit to look for that resource. So more than likely, the resources are going to be in the foresty area like this, or near rocks and things like that. So we got nickel. We could grab a little bit of nickel. We don't need too much nickel. We need more iron than anything else. So this is what iron looks like. Rusty colored dirt. So we'll just drill as much as we can. Try to get maybe 2k worth or so if you can. If the ore deposit even allows it. If you want to know what silicon looks like, these little black specks right here. Okay, and of course, if you want to know what nickel looks like, it is right here. Little bit of a silverish color-ish. Hint, kind of. All right, we filled up our bags with as much ores as possible. You'll see I have about 2k of each thing, but more iron than anything else, which is exactly what we need. Another quick tip, make sure to do a GPS waypoint if you are going to venture out to look for materials. So press M for the map, go to GPS, and you get to click this one right here, add current position. You can rename it obviously, but I left it as new marker, so it is new marker, and it's right there. And if you really want to rename it, just click on new marker and just say base or whatever this is going to be. So of course now we can recharge because we have the ability to do so with the survival kit. We also could throw in a cockpit. So a fun thing about this, we could do a cockpit, which is this here, or we do a control seat that are functional. So either one of these can fit here. I found a good spot for this, actually. You could throw it right over here. And I'm going to do a cockpit in this case because a seat costs a little bit more, and I'll show you a little bit why. So here you got steel plates, glass, electronic parts, and more steel plates, reading top to bottom. And then you have control seat here. It requires wires, which sometimes it might be hard to find copper. We did find copper, so it wouldn't be that bad or big of a deal to make that. But let's save some resources and weld up this bad boy here. Okay, now we got a seat. So if you could have created a seat first in terms of a cockpit, you could have jumped in here to get recharged. That could have worked out as well. But it was just a lot quicker to do the survival kit, obviously. Okay, since we got that, now it's time to get some flight. Well, we already see we have some thrusters here. Should we just grind these down? Sure, why not? You don't really need them because we can't reutilize them right now because it doesn't have any hydrogen in this ship. So current levels at hydrogen tank is at 0. So none of these thrusters are going to work. So I guess that's why they're on red. Because this block does not have enough resources, which is the R. So we could grind those down to get our thrusters going, but we filled our pack with some resources, so we should be good to go. So let's go look at some thrusters. So obviously we got the hydrogen thrusters that we just looked at, atmosphere thrusters, and also some ion thrusters. So we are definitely not using ion thrusters because that's more for space, but we could definitely use propulsion through atmospheric thrusters. And atmospheric thrusters, you get several different sizes here. You get the 1M, 2M, 5M, and 10M. Obviously, these last two will be a little bit later down the line to get them because they use heavy-duty plates, compressors, and things like that, which you can't just build off your backpack. And it'll tell you what you need, like assembler for these two, assembler and fabricator and things like that. So the first one would be the 1M, which is straight from your backpack. The second one is coming from a smelter. Why? Because you need to create turbine blades. But you kind of don't need it. You can get away with just your regular 1Ms, if anything. You just gotta apply a lot more. There is a specific math to this as well, but I tried it earlier. It didn't work out. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong, or the update changed how the thrusters kind of work. So our ship is gonna look like this. And that's in terms of horizontal. So vertically, we are wanting to go this way. So we're going to throw in some thrusters. So for some reason, when I was trying it earlier, we were able to grab 6 thrusters and was able to push this thing upwards somehow. Now we can also work with symmetrical buildings, so you don't have to do twice the work here, which is pressing T, like so. And that was more than enough to kind of get us going. So we also need all 6 directions, unless you're working with VTOL or VTOL, which we would probably require less, but it's going to require you to utilize a lot more complicated things like event controls and things like that. So let's throw in some more thrusters here. So I'm going to do forward thrusters because this is where it's going to push us. Throw one there, one here, and here. I'm going to do 6 just so we could get our initial thrust forward upwards to get this thing going. And then for our backward thruster, we're going to throw some right over here. So we could do maybe 4 for now. If we need more, we could throw one. Yeah, we could do this. So we do 3 on each side, which will be 6. So basically every direction we're doing 6 thrusters. And of course we need side thrusting. Side thrusting is usually my bane of existence, where I just never know where to put them. I guess we could just put them on the side right over here, right? We have 1, 2. And we're not using that hydrogen thruster, so maybe we could throw in a third one there, potentially. No, we get to throw it right there. So that's the 3 there, and then we should have another 3 here. So now we have 6 on each side, except for side thrusting, because we only have 3. Which could be okay, but if we want to add more, we add more. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So let's add in our downward thrust if we need to. So 3 on each side. Okay, so we're just lacking more or less the side thrusting, which we'll deal with later. But we also need a gyroscope. So we're just gonna throw in a 1M gyroscope right over here. Because why not? And lastly, we may need more power. But first, we're gonna weld up all these thrusters. All right, so that is all welded up and basically ready to go. We may or may not need a little bit more power. Because it's stuck on here, I can't tell for sure. So now it's time to kind of dig it out. So we're gonna right-click drill to get as much of the sand off the bottom of the pod. It may do a little damage to the pod itself, but that's fine. There's some voxels that are gonna be stuck underneath it too, so we do need to get under there to kind of undo it, kind of like here. Not the best thing to do, but it might have to have been done. Can we lift ourselves upwards, forward? Yes, we can. We are free. So as you see here, 6 small 1M thrusters is more than enough to pull this weight of this drop pod. And it's weighing at, it's weighing at 21,670 kilograms or kgs. It is bottoming out the thrusters, as you see there. So we are barely able to fly. So keep that in mind. I mean, it works. It's just quite barely. And we're still running off that one power module, one battery that's inside as well, which is in here. So we don't have a lot of power left on that thing. If we want to check it, you'll see here we're at 28% and draining. So we may or may not want to add another battery. And the battery is not too expensive. So we could add this battery, which is the 1.5M, or we could do a 0.5M. But I think we could just do, I feel like we could do a nice big old battery right in the back where we are sitting, I guess. Right there. So a little iron, a little silicon should be more than enough. And that way we're not going to bottom out in terms of the thrusting. In terms of power, at least. Power management. But yeah, I wish I could give you the math. But the math ain't mathing from what I was trying earlier. So technically 6 is more than enough to get you thrusting. And pretty decently too. I mean, it's not the best, but of course you can add a little bit more if you have to. But that's definitely a quick way to get started with classic survival. And of course we got some markers here. So now you can easily fly 2.7 kilometers or 5 kilometers away to get to the next waypoint or station or whatsoever. So you don't have to dig for resources, which is something I don't normally like to do. I'd rather build a ship to dig, but not dig on its own. And that is why you should have more thrusters. Yeah, probably 2 more thrusters would have been a fairly good idea. Okay, so it took out the door by mistake. That is not a big deal. Then we add 2 more on each side, or 1 more on each side at least. So we have 1 here and 1 here. Yeah, we kind of bottomed out a little bit as we were climbing. Not sure how, but or we couldn't climb fast enough when we hit the little bit of a hill. But I mean, it's okay. As you see here, 8 thrusters, more than enough to get us up here. And we lightened the load a little bit by bringing that door. And we're at 19,868 kilograms now, so we should be okay. But 8 thrusters, more than enough to get this thing going. But again, wish I could show you the math, but the math is not mathing. So 8 thrusters, more than enough to pull 20 kgs of weight of a ship. So there you go. Now we make it to this little bit of a station. Not even sure what this one's called, but once we get here, we should have put in landing gear too. But we'll land it here and hope it don't rock out to the floor. Okay, we are good. So this is an unknown signal. Okay, so that's nice. What was around there? That's a hostile camp. That doesn't sound great. But we found something. We can rummage, get materials. Like we got some nice wires, So we can do seat, motors, and everything like that. And we can grind all this down for materials as well. But again, we're going to run into issue with weight if we are to grab everything. So if we were to grab everything in terms of our inventory, throw in our ship, that's when things can get really, really fishy. So we can take the whole container, we can take this whole antenna, buttons, and things like that. It's some good resources. Ooh, what's inside? Well, I guess we could write this door down for our resources that we destroyed. But we could get some more boxes. Ooh, we got a bed kit. Got toilets and everything like that we could potentially use. And more materials. So, tons and tons of stuff here. And the connector is not a port that we can use. Okay, that's fine. Here's the cockpit. If we fill this up, so that's 400 kgs worth. I don't know if we could fill up. Yeah, we can't really put any more in here, can we? Unless we put a cargo container, which we could do. But of course, putting a cargo container is going to increase the weight of this thing. But that is basically the next step. So here's a quick way of moving on to the next step to get bigger thrusters. What we need is production. And when we go to production, we go to a smelter. So we just got to build this bad boy. It's a big thing, so we could throw it right in the middle here. Let's get rid of symmetry. I was thinking we could build it kind of right over here. And it doesn't utilize too much materials, right? So I guess we get not a lot of space for it. We'll throw it here. It might drop the ship because it's going to be a bit heavy. But as you see here, it takes iron, silicate, and nickel. But in terms of materials, steel plates, electron parts, motors, and steel plates. So we have everything but motors, but we could probably get some more motors from the station. Okay, so we add a little bit more weight here. 23,543. Thrusters are still holding up pretty decently, so that's interesting. So what we want to do now is throw in some nickel. Throw in the nickel to smelter, go to production, and make some turbine blades. So we can make, let's just say 4 for now. Doesn't use too much nickel, as you see there. And why we're doing 4 is now because we could use the 2M thrusters here. So the 2M thruster is going to cost 2 turbine blades and a whole bunch of other stuff. So if we really want to have this hold better weight, we could throw it in the back. So we could technically just get rid of the smelter for now. We should have probably built it outside of anything, but it needed the power source anyways. Now we could throw in a big old thruster back here. That can definitely carry as much weight as possible, especially if we're going to throw in a cargo container or storage. So a nice big storage like this would be kind of good. There's no real good spot for it right now. I could throw it here, but we're not connected or anything like that. But it's still a good spot to throw stuff in here. So it could carry 16.8 T's or tons. I would assume that's the T, right? I don't know. So now we have 23,450. But if we throw stuff in here, I would assume it's still the same because that was my weight of me being there too. Oh no. Okay. All right. So if we do plan on getting everything else, grind it down and throw it into our ship, we have a big old thruster to keep us afloat. And we can move on to the next place. We got a solar panel we can utilize. So that's also perfect. And there's a battery here as well. So we could recharge the power module if necessary. So this one is at 36%. So this one is a lot better than the one that we have. So we exchange this power module if anything. So we'll grab the power module from there and we will have to swap it out from the one inside. There was one right in here. I think I might have to get from the bottom. Yep, right there. And it inserts the highest charge. Our highest charge is the 31. So that goes in there. And our crappy one that we just stole from this base will be right here. So that should be the 19, right? So that is that. There's no way to charge it, obviously, because I got rid of the solar panel and things like that. We can now even put in a solar panel to get some more extra power on this thing. So you have 5M, 10M on here. Thinking 5M will be fine. We might have enough just to do this as well. I don't want to touch the thing over there. I'm gonna stick it slightly on the edge. And there we go. So we got solar panels as wings. We got resources. And I'm just gonna throw everything in here. We can grab more stuff if we like. We are not the greatest on side thrusting because we only have 3 on each side. So maybe we fix that really quick. All right, so that is our ship. Not looking too bad. Of course, we could add more to it if we really like to. So, for an example, protect our gyroscope a little bit. And there we go. We got a nice looking quick ship from the drop pod. Much better than the one I created previously. But as you see here, we got good rotation or movement. Battery wise, not so good. 90% left. So we need to find a way to charge up. And that could be, of course, the sun with the solar panels. And also, we got turbines. All right, we are at the hostile spot. I don't know how hostile it really is going to be. It's got a turret there, but it's not shooting me. So, it's gonna shoot me. No, it's not gonna shoot me. So, is it gonna do anything? I hope not. Ooh. Oh, it's looking at me. It's looking at me. That's not good. It's not shooting my ship, which is a good thing, but let's take it out. And goodbye you go. All right, that was a bit dangerous, but it kind of worked out. But yeah. Our ship is looking good. We can get power through some turbines. Of course, I don't think turbine's gonna work if it's on the ship itself. It'd be funny if it does. I am inclined to try, because why not? And there we go. We do actually have a turbine on top of this thing, which of course it doesn't work. Why would we even think it's gonna work? And we are heavy, 34,000. But what if we did a landing gear? Would that make it work? It does work. Not much charge. It's not high enough for sure. From the ground, I don't think we have enough wind also. But the battery is slowly filling up. 5 hours. Okay. Yeah, efficiency is at 34%. We need to be a little bit higher from the platform, I guess. Or from the ground. Or even make this thing a lot higher from the ship itself. But I'm just gonna plop myself down here really quick. Okay, nope, that's a fail. Nope, we're good. Okay, now efficiency looks to be much better, 60%. So a little bit of height makes a big deal. I think we're blocked on the side before, but look at that. We got some power. Really odd way of doing it, but we got extra power there. We can always grab these modules as well. This one is at 100% capacity. Jeez, I'm taking that for sure. And we're going to replace that over here for now. But we'll grab what we can from here and move on. But like I said, this is one of the quickest ways to start in Classic Survival. Again, I wish I could map it for you. Ooh. Okay, I got a little caught off guard there. And we got some thrusters here. What is this? Oh, there's a big old battery. So far, that's the quickest way to get started with Classic Survival. If you want to get some flight going, if you're having trouble. Again, with the drop pod itself, about 20 kilograms of weight, you could get away with probably 6 upward thrusts. And of course, you need all 6 directions as well. So that's, again, mathing ain't mathing up. So it's just as easy as saying 6 to 7 thrusters will get your drop pod up based on that weight. But let's see what kind of trouble we're going to get inside here. Looks like a new outhouse. But what do we have here? All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little how to start classic survival. If you did, hit the like button, comment down below, and of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.